All right, so today we're diving into Unity software. You guys have been asking us to take a look at this one.
Yeah, it's popular, man.
So we've got a whole stack of research reports and analyses, and we're going to unpack everything from their business model to management decisions, their financials, market sentiment, and try to figure out, is this company a solid investment? Or is it just too risky?
Yeah, and it's really interesting because Unity, it's not just a company, it's kind of a movement.
Yeah, they're really trying to change how games are made
Exactly.
with this whole democratization of game development thing.
Yeah, making game development accessible to basically anyone.
Not just the big studios with tons of money.
Right, and they've really had an impact, I think. I mean, you see games built with Unity, from like tiny indie developers all the way up to...
Yeah, like Activision Blizzard.
Exactly, huge companies.
So their reach is pretty impressive.
Yeah, they have over 1.1 million monthly active users on their platform.
And apps built using Unity are downloaded like an average of 3.7 billion times a month.
That's a lot of downloads.
Yeah, so that's a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah.
But how does that translate into a profitable business?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
How do they actually make money?
Yeah.
Well, their business model is kind of multifaceted, which makes it interesting.
Okay.
So first of all, they have the classic tiered subscription model.
Oh, yeah.
So, individual developers can subscribe,
Makes sense.
and then it goes all the way up to like
Big enterprise level stuff.
huge companies. So that's one stream of revenue.
Okay.
And then they also take a cut of in-game advertising revenue.
Okay, so if a game's using Unity and they're showing ads,
Unity gets a piece of that.
Unity gets a piece. Got it.
Yep. And then there's the asset store.
Oh, yeah, the asset store.
Which is kind of like a digital marketplace
I've heard of that.
where developers can buy and sell game components.
Like what kind of stuff?
I mean, anything you can imagine. 3D model, sound effects, code libraries.
Wow.
Literally anything you need to build a game.
So it's like a one-stop shop for developers.
Yeah. They've really built an entire ecosystem around game development.
Pretty clever.
And it's a smart strategy,
Yeah.
but it hasn't always been easy for them.
Right. Well, I mean, no business is perfect.
Yeah, and they've definitely had some missteps.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about the whole runtime fee thing?
Yeah, that was a big one.
A major PR nightmare.
It really damaged their relationship with developers.
Yeah, they tried to charge developers
Yeah.
a fee for every install of their game.
Which obviously did not go over well.
Yeah, no one likes surprise fees.
Especially developers who are already working on tight budgets.
Yeah, so it seems like their management team has had a bit of a bumpy ride.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the volatile stock price,
Yeah.
the runtime fee debacle,
Uh-huh.
workforce reductions. It hasn't been easy.
It sounds stressful.
But to be fair, they have made some strategic moves as well.
Okay, like what?
Well, they brought in a new CTO and CFO.
Okay.
They've been consolidating teams to streamline operations.
Trying to be more efficient.
Exactly, and they're investing heavily in AI and new markets.
So they are trying to adapt.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely trying to course correct.
Okay, so they've had their ups and downs.
Yeah.
They've got this grand vision of democratizing game development.
Uh-huh.
But the management team's had some stumbles along the way.
Right.
So the question is, how is all of this reflected in their financials?
That's what we need to look at next.
Are they actually making money?
Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Okay,
Their revenue growth has been pretty impressive.
so they're bringing in money.
Yeah. But the profitability is a different story.
Okay, so they're making money, but they're not making money.
Kind of. Yeah, they're battling high operating expenses.
And that's eating into their profits.
Exactly.
Okay, so help me understand that.
Sure.
Where are all their expenses going?
Well, one major factor is stock-based compensation,
Oh, okay.
which is quite high for Unity.
And that's a concern. Why?
Well, for investors, it can be a red flag
Okay.
because it can dilute the value of existing shares. On top of that, they're investing a lot in research and development,
Makes sense. They're a tech company.
especially in AI, which is a costly area.
Yeah.
And then there's just the general cost of running a global operation.
Right. Lots of employees, offices, all that.
Exactly.
Okay, so high operating costs are a problem,
Yeah, it's putting a damper on their profitability.
even though they have the revenue coming in.
Exactly.
So what about their other financial metrics?
Well,
What's their market cap looking like?
it's decent.
Okay.
Reflects their position in the industry.
Uh-huh.
But when you look at things like margins,
Yeah.
operating margin, net margin,
Uh-huh.
they're actually negative right now.
Negative. So that means,
They're spending more than they're earning.
oof, that's not great.
Yeah. Not ideal for long-term sustainability.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But they do have positive free cash flow.
Okay, so at least that's good.
Yeah, it means they're generating cash from their operations,
Okay,
and their debt-to-equity ratio is reasonable.
so it's not all doom and gloom,
No, not at all.
but definitely some things to keep an eye on.
For sure, and here's another one.
Okay.
Their revenue per share has actually been declining over the last 12 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's bad because...
Well, for investors, it suggests that the company's profitability might be shrinking on a per-share basis.
Okay, so even though revenue's growing...
The amount of profit per share is going down.
Not encouraging.
No, it's something to watch.
What about their most recent quarter? Did that give us any clues?
Their Q4 2024 results were interesting.
Okay.
Revenue is actually down compared to the previous year.
That's not good.
No, not great, but their free cash flow increased.
So maybe a sign that.
Yeah, their cost control measures
Yeah.
and their efforts to improve efficiency might be starting to pay off.
So a little bit of good news.
A glimmer of hope.
Yeah, and they're also in the middle of this transition.
Oh, right. To their new AI-powered platform, Vector.
Vector, yeah.
They think it's going to be huge for their advertising business.
Okay.
But like any major transition, there are probably going to be some growing pains.
Yeah, makes sense.
And some short-term disruptions.
Oh, so I'll have to wait and see how that plays out.
Exactly.
But yeah, that high stock-based compensation, still a concern.
It is, especially if profitability doesn't improve.
So their financial health is a bit of a question mark.
It's a mixed bag for sure.
Okay, so we've talked about Unity's business.
Yeah.
We've looked at their management decisions, and we've done a deep dive into their financials.
We've covered a lot.
It sounds like they have some great things going for them,
Definitely.
but also some serious hurdles to overcome.
For sure.
And you know what? We are going to pick this back up in the next part of this deep dive.
Yeah, we've got a lot more to unpack.
We're going to explore what the market thinks, who's really in control of this company,
Right.
and ultimately whether they can level up to their full potential.
Yeah, can they overcome these challenges?
Plus, we'll reveal that surprising fact about Unity that we teased earlier.
Oh, yes, don't forget about that.
So stay tuned.
We'll be right back. Okay, so we've looked at their business model management and their financials, but now let's see what the market thinks.
Yeah, what's the overall sentiment? Is Unity a buy, a sell, or somewhere in between?
It's kind of a mixed bag, actually,
Okay,
which, is reflected in the stock's volatility.
makes sense.
You've got analysts with price targets ranging from $15 all the way up to $38.
Wow, that's a huge range.
It is, the average target price is sitting around $25.96.
So some cautious optimism.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So what's driving those different opinions? What are the bulls excited about, and what are the bears worried about?
Well, on the positive side, remember the runtime fee fiasco?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they ended up canceling that,
Okay.
which was a big win for them.
Yeah, I mean, it showed they were willing to listen,
Exactly. They admitted they made a mistake.
which is huge.
Yeah, it definitely helped repair their relationship with developers.
Okay, so that's a plus. What else is making the optimists happy?
Well, the launch of Unity 6 has generated some buzz. Yeah, it's a pretty significant upgrade to their core engine.
Okay, new features and stuff.
Yeah, things that developers are excited about.
So that's good.
Yeah, and a couple of firms, Stiefel and Needham, actually upgraded their outlook on Unity.
Because of Unity 6?
Yeah, they cited the cancellation of the runtime fee and the positive reception of Unity 6 as reasons for their optimism.
Okay, so they're seeing some positive signs.
Yeah, they believe these moves show that Unity is focusing on developers and innovation.
Okay, but what about the concerns? What's holding some analysts back?
Well, the big question mark is still profitability.
Right. Can they actually make money consistently?
Exactly, that's what Wall Street wants to see.
And until they do.
There will always be doubters.
Make sense?
Wow.
What else are the bears worried about?
Competition.
Yeah, of course.
It's a tough industry.
Lots of other game engines out there.
Yeah, and even companies like Apple, who focus on mobile advertising, are starting to become a potential threat.
Interesting.
And, speaking of competition, remember how Unity is trying to expand beyond gaming?
Right into other industries.
Exactly. Well, that also exposes them to even more competition.
Yeah, they're going up against established players in those fields.
So they'll need to prove they can compete.
Not just compete, but actually offer something unique.
Exactly. It's a risky move.
High risk, high reward.
That's the game they're playing.
Okay, so we've talked about what the analysts think, but what about the people actually running Unity?
Ah, yes, the ownership structure.
What does that tell us?
Well, you've got some major players in the institutional investor category.
Okay, like who?
Silver Lake Partners, Sequoia Capital Co-2 Management.
Big names?
Yeah, they have a lot of influence in the tech world.
So their involvement is a good sign.
It does lend some credibility to Unity.
Okay, but what about insider ownership? Are the executives putting their money where their mouth is?
That's where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Insider ownership is actually quite low,
Really? How low?
just under 3%.
That's not great.
It's something to watch.
Yeah, because it could mean they don't have confidence in the company.
That's one interpretation.
And to make matters worse, you mentioned earlier that there's been some insider selling,
Yeah, there has been a trend of that lately.
which is not a good look.
It's not ideal.
It's like they're saying we believe in the company, but not enough to keep our own money in it.
Ouch. Yeah, it definitely adds another layer of complexity.
So lots to consider here.
Definitely. And, we've talked about their strengths and the excitement around their potential.
Right, but we can't ignore the risks.
Absolutely. Every investment carries risk, and Unity is no exception.
In fact, they might have more than their fair share.
Possibly, yeah. To really understand this company, we need to analyze their risks and opportunities systematically.
Okay, and how do we do that?
Well, there's a classic framework for this, the SWOT analysis.
The SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Exactly. It's a great way to dissect a business.
I remember those from business school.
Yeah, it's a classic.
So let's start with the positives. What are Unity's strengths?
Well, their brand recognition is huge. They're basically synonymous with game development.
Especially in the indie scene.
Yeah, and that brand is built on a solid foundation. Their platform is really comprehensive. It offers tools for every stage of game development.
It's a one-stop shop.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And they have a massive and active community of developers, which is a huge asset.
Yeah, that's valuable.
And their cross-platform compatibility is a major selling point.
Right. Developers can build a game once and deploy it everywhere.
Exactly. Reach a wider audience.
Okay, so those are some serious strengths, but every company has weaknesses. What are some of Unity's?
Well, we've already talked about their biggest weakness, inconsistent profitability.
Right. Those high operating costs are a drag.
And the reliance on stock-based compensation.
Not ideal.
And they're also pretty dependent on the gaming industry.
So if the gaming market takes a hit,
Unity will feel it.
okay, so profitability and over-reliance on one industry are key concerns.
Yeah, but let's not forget about opportunities. Where can Unity go from here?
That's what I'm excited to hear about.
Yeah.
They're already the leader in game development, so what's next?
Well, they've already started to expand into other industries like architecture, engineering, and filmmaking.
Yeah, like filmmaking.
Yeah, and that's just the beginning. The potential applications for their technology are huge.
So the same software that powers my favorite mobile game could be used to make movies.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing.
It is, and they're actively pushing into those markets.
Oh, yeah. Think about the metaverse.
Right, everyone's talking about that.
It's still early, but Unity could be a major player in building those virtual worlds.
So they're not just a gaming company anymore. They're a platform for creating all kinds of 3D content.
That's a great way to put it.
But we also have to talk about the threats, right?
Of course, competition is always a threat, especially from established players in those new markets.
Right, they're not going to just give up their market share.
And then there's the rapid pace of technological change.
They have to stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly. Otherwise, they risk becoming obsolete.
And then there's the whole regulatory landscape.
Especially around data privacy.
It's getting tougher all the time.
And that could impact Unity's ability to operate in certain markets.
Okay, so we've analyzed their strengths, weaknesses,
Yeah.
opportunities, and threats. It's a lot to take in.
It is. Unity is a complex company.
So where do they go from here? Or what's the next chapter in their story?
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've looked at their business model, their management decisions, the financial picture, market sentiment, ownership structure. We even did a full SWOT analysis.
It's a lot to process.
It is.
So what's the bottom line? Is Unity a company worth betting on?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
And like with most investments, there's no easy answer. Unity is at a crossroads. They
Yeah.
have a lot of strengths, a strong brand, a powerful platform, a massive community, and a vision for the future that goes beyond just gaming.
Right.
But they're also facing some real challenges.
Especially with profitability
Exactly.
and competition. So for investors, it really comes down to risk tolerance.
Right? Unity could be a high-growth, high-reward opportunity,
Okay.
but it's not for the faint of heart.
So for those of us who aren't like seasoned investors,
Right.
what are the key takeaways here? What should we be watching for?
Well, I would say keep a close eye on their profitability. Can they get those operating costs under control
Okay.
and start delivering consistent profits?
Yeah.
That's going to be key.
Makes sense.
And also watch how this transition to their vector platform plays out.
Right. Vector.
If it's successful, it could be a major catalyst for growth.
Okay.
And then finally, I'd say pay attention to how they navigate the competitive landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Can they maintain their dominance in gaming
Right.
while also successfully expanding into these new markets?
Okay, so it's a wait-and-see situation.
I think so, yeah.
But you know what you promised us a surprising fact about Unity? At the beginning of this deep dive, remember that little teaser?
Oh, yeah, I almost forgot.
You can't leave us hanging.
Well, we've talked a lot about Unity's push beyond gaming, but here's something that might surprise you. One of the areas where they're making inroads is actually filmmaking.
Wait, really? So the same technology that's used to make, like, you know those epic video games that I love?
Yeah.
Could be used to make Hollywood movies.
Exactly. It's pretty wild.
That's crazy.
And it's not just a pipe dream either. They're already working with major studios and production companies, providing tools for everything from pre-visualization and virtual production
Wow.
to real-time rendering and special effects.
So instead of like building these giant sets, they could just create virtual worlds.
Yeah, it's much more efficient.
And the actors can perform in those.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it's not just about saving money and time either.
Okay.
It also opens up all kinds of new creative possibilities.
So things that they couldn't do before.
Exactly.
Wow, that is surprising.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, this changes my whole perspective on Unity. They're not just a gaming company anymore. They're a fundamental part of the creative process across multiple industries.
It's pretty amazing how technology can evolve like that.
Yeah, and find these new applications
Yeah.
in unexpected places.
Exactly.
And that's what makes Unity such a fascinating company to watch. They're at the forefront of this whole 3D revolution.
They are.
They have the potential to shape the future of not just how we play,
Right.
but how we create and experience all kinds of content.
It's an exciting time.
It is. Well, this has been an incredible journey through the world of Unity software. We've explored their business, their challenges, and their incredible potential. Huge thanks to you for guiding us through all of this,
My pleasure. It's always fun to dive deep into a company like Unity.
and for all of you listening. We want to hear your thoughts.
Yes, head over to the comments section and tell us what you think. Is Unity a buy a sell, or are you on the fence?
Yeah, share your insights and your stock suggestions.
We love to hear from you guys.
And if you're hungry for more in-depth analyses of fascinating companies and market trends, be sure to subscribe to our Stock Analytics AI YouTube channel.
We've got tons of great content over there.
We do.
But before you go, a quick disclaimer. The views expressed in this deep dive are based on the research materials provided and should not be considered financial advice.
Right.
Please do your own research and consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
Always good advice.
Right.
Until next time, happy investing.